All right, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday, tips to help grow your online community. It's great to be with everyone here today. Hope everyone is staying safe out there. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Jason there on the left, and we're lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist here at Brilliant Directories. David, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for another webinar. We've got a really good one here focused on how you can improve your newsletters and encourage some more member interaction.
Yeah, excited for that one today. I always like to mention, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, you can always join us at brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. It's a great way to keep the conversations going in between Webinar Wednesdays. There's really great engagement and constructive and productive discussions in there. So take a minute and join us there. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook and just click on the blue join button. And also, for those of you joining us for the first time today, welcome. I always like to mention, Webinar Wednesday is a great platform to talk about some of the built-in features of Brilliant Directories to help leverage your community and grow it a bit faster. So some topics that we like to cover are some of the features that can help you increase traffic, strategies to help convert visitors into members, and one of my favorites is improving the website navigation. And that's really about keeping things as simple as possible, giving the visitor or the member a clear funnel to follow, links to click on, and that can really help with your conversion rates and seeing results for any website, actually. So if you have questions on these topics or anything related to these, please save them. We are definitely going to try to get to as many questions as we can in just a little bit in the webinar. All right, and before we dive into the tip of the week, we do have some BD Lab updates that we'd like to share with you guys today. One of them is actually related to the articles available in the BD blog, and I'll share a link to that. We have all the webinar replays online as of yesterday, actually. Let me go there with you on our website. You can go to the Brilliant Directories website. On the top right corner, you'll see blog. And if you just do that, it's a full stream of all the articles in our blog, lots of fun content there. On the right-hand side, you can filter by the webinar replays. We're up to 92, so this actually would be webinar 93. I guess we'll have a party when we hit 100. But you can click on the webinar replays, or if you like the tip of the weeks, you can click on the membership website tips, and that will filter just the segments that were the tip of the week for all the webinars. All right, so the first one on this list, it's a little high level. I'll say it's mid-range difficulty, but to help protect your sites, when you're publishing a blog post or any type of post on your site, like a coupon or event, the system does allow you to embed a YouTube video or a Vimeo video or an iFrame link from Facebook by default. But to help protect your site from members or from your staff who might be trying to embed iframes from maybe other sources or podcasts that you really don't want on your site, it doesn't allow it by default. However, there is a way now to whitelist domains that you want to allow to be embedded into your post. And I want to show you two examples of how this works and how you can do it. So what I wanted to do is use a podcast and also use a slide share. It's basically a PDF slideshow, kind of like a magazine. You can upload your PDF and then it creates a slideshow of the pages. So if we wanted to embed something like this into a blog post or on our site on a static page, or if we wanted to embed like a podcast. So there's this site here called Radio Public for podcasters. You can search any keyword here and you'll get a podcast. Now, you might have your own podcast that you're hosting on a third-party solution like Podbean or iTunes or somewhere else like that. But in this case, let's say I wanted to embed this podcast here. So I haven't whitelisted this domain name. So if I attempt to embed this podcast into a blog post, let's see what happens. It is going to get rejected, but I just want to go through the motions with you. So most embed tools will provide an iFrame embed. That's what YouTube provides, Vimeo, and many sites. And this is what this is related to, is specifically iFrame embed code. So we can copy this link here, and let's actually go to a site here. I'm logged in on a sample site. We're kind of playing around here. Let me try to add a community article. And I'll publish my first article. And this will be a test podcast. So if I come down here, what you can actually do is, although it says insert video, you can click on the embed code. This is good to know, and just drop any iframe here. Now, this iframes from this website, embed.radiopublic.com, haven't been whitelisted yet, but let's go through the motions together. So it is going to show here temporarily, but if I save my changes, it does disappear because we haven't whitelisted that domain name. So let me show you how you can start whitelisting domains and start embedding content from all sorts of sources into your blog articles and things like that. So just quickly, I want to open up a notepad here and I want to paste the iframe code here. So what we want to whitelist is this embed.radiopublic.com. That's the domain that I want to allow iframes from. So let's do this together. We can start in the dashboard, and under settings, we can go to advanced settings. It's really simple, actually. I think you could just look for list, or I think it's like whitelist. Okay, yeah, here. So it's like allowed iframe sources. So by default, there's SoundCloud, YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook. I could just add a comma here and paste this. And just to be extra safe, I'm going to do the embed.radiopublic and also just radiopublic.com. And I'm going to go ahead and save my changes. And I have a comma in between those. Very good. Okay. So now let's go back and take this iframe code. And let's try to create an article again. I'll just go ahead and refresh this page. And we'll come back here. We'll click on that video insert link. We'll click on the embed code section, and let's paste this here and click insert. And we'll go ahead and save the changes. So now it's staying here. So it's going to be saved in there. It's allowing it. And of course, if I go to view the post on the live site, that podcast is going to be there. This actually almost makes our separate SoundCloud tool where you just put the SoundCloud link a little redundant, because you could just make blog posts using the SoundCloud embed code, the iframe code that they provide. But this is really cool. You know, if you're a site curating content from other sources, you know, it's perfectly fine to embed, especially if there's an embed code that's meant to be shared, other people's podcasts on your site. If you're looking for ways to add content to your site kind of in this format, you know, why not share a podcast here and write a few words about why you like this podcast, why your members would be interested in this podcast, and you instantly have content there for your site. The podcast is doing the heavy lifting for you, but you could write a nice article that summarizes the podcast or what people can gain or your thoughts on what you think about the podcast. So it's a really easy way to start posting content from other sources that have players like this. I'll just hit the play button here. And in my headphones, the sound is playing. Now let's do something else. Let's say you have a magazine. There's a lot of tools on there. So you have PDF magazines online and you want to embed those on the site. You know, SlideShare is something that we use at Brilliant Directories sometimes to post some of the webinar slides. So here we can see there's 34 slides here. They're basically just copies of the long webinar we did a while ago. But there is a share link here. And of course, there are a few ways to share this. And we see the embed code with the iframe. And I'll just go ahead and copy this. Now, here's something to look out for. Probably the website owner, you are going to be doing this more. So sometimes with these, they give you a little bit extra than you need when you're popping it into the article. So what I like to do is really all we want is what's in between those iframe tags. So let's look here again at this first example. We see iframe and then iframe, and it closes with a caret. So let's paste this slide share here. We're going to see all this extra stuff. So really what my eyes just want to look for is where does the iframe close? And I see it closes right here. So I'm just going to hit enter, 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 enter. This is all that I really need. All this extra stuff is really just promoting SlideShare more, and it's for links back to SlideShare and all that stuff. So I just want the magazine flip style slideshow from SlideShare. So just look for iframe to iframe and make sure it's closing with this little caret here. So let's try to add this to that article now. Same article. And we could put it down here underneath. So same thing, I'm going to click on, it says insert video, but what we want to do is embed code with iframes, and I'll insert it. Now it is going to show it here temporarily, and I'll save the changes. And it's gone. It's gone because I need to whitelist and allow iframes and embeds from this domain. And it's a really good security tool that it's done like this. So what we want here is, we could see I want slideshare.net. So that's what I want to whitelist or add to my allowed iFrame sources here. So I'm just going to put another comma and paste it and save the changes. Okay, and let's just copy that iFrame to iFrame code once again. I'll refresh the page just so it gets those changes, and we'll go ahead and attempt to add this once again here. Embedded code, iFrame to iFrame, insert. So here it is, and we'll go ahead and save the changes. And now we can see it is actually part of the article here, and it's live. So let's go to view the post. We can see here now we have iframes embedded from two different sources that weren't allowed on the site before, but now they are. And what's really cool, I'm going to take it one step further, just to talk about a little bit design aesthetics and things like that. So, you know, we have this table function. So what you could do is create a little table here. And in one of the columns, and let's take that first code for this, the podcast, we can do right in that cell, we can do the embed. And on the left side, we can talk about this podcast and, you know, highlight some thoughts from it. You know, basically you could put text on the left side, and you can certainly slide this a little left and right, and you know, you can change the font size just to give you guys some ideas of what you can do with this. I'll just go ahead and save those changes, and we'll look at it on the live site here. So obviously this is pretty big font here, but you can see here you can actually style these a little bit. You could go full width real easily, or you can you know, segment them into different cells, making them a table and things like that. So maybe you want to put a call to action here. Maybe this is your podcast. You want to have it on the right, and maybe, you know, subscribe to our podcast wherever your podcasts are hosted, or people can subscribe to them. You can put any content here. So in a nutshell, that's how it works. It works with adding iframe to iframe, and as long as you add the domain to the allowed list, it should be no problem. Just make sure when you're copying embed code and you see iframe and some extra stuff, just look for that last iframe and get rid of everything else, and that's what you want. And you could really publish a lot of content really quickly if you have a source for, I'm just using podcasts as an example, but anywhere that has videos or podcasts or magazine style slideshows that you can embed on your site, and then you can write articles and talk about it. Really quick and easy way to add content to your site. All right, this next one was actually a suggestion from the webinars. Several people did request this. I think Vincent from Dallas did request this. When you have these sub-accounts or multi-member manager add-on, there was an option to copy information from the master account, the main account holder that's going to be managing additional sub-accounts. But when you copied it, only copied the contact details, like their name and phone number. It didn't take anything from like their About Me section or their listing details that might have the hours of operation and things like that. So now when you copy the main account, the parent account, to create a new sub-account, it will copy more relevant data. Let me show you guys what that's referring to. So what it is going to copy, I can show you, is the contact details, the profile photo, the listing details, and the about information when you're opting to clone the parent account when you're creating a sub account. So all four of these will be included, not the service areas, that will be unique to that specific profile, but all four of these will be. Prior to this update, only the contact details were being copied over, and that was pretty limited because then you'd have to go in and add everything else for something you're trying to create a copy of. Okay, this one we've been talking about for a couple webinars, the ability to add images in private member chat messages. That is now live and available, and I can show you a quick example. So if we send a message here, yeah, we're prompted to start a chat. So the initial chat message is just going to be plain text, but once the chat has been initiated, then you can move forward with adding images. So let me just type hi there and send the message. Okay, great. So this guy is chatting with this tennis lady here, and can you do this? and he can certainly add an image from his computer. And I'll just add this image here from my computer. And you can kind of do a little bit of formatting on the images, not too much, just because it's a chat. And you can send the message. And now your members can share messages with each other. So, if they're collaborating on something, or, maybe it's a homeowner trying to contact a plumber, he's like, send me a picture from under your sink. You can certainly do it now with the private, with this image tool for the private chat messages. We are working on a secure way to also do this for member reviews. We think it's going to be rolled out only if you're logged into the site and leaving a review. Could you share images when you're leaving a review for a member? And we are exploring a method to do this when submitting a lead for the Get Matched forms. So when you're submitting a lead with your information to contact a member, you can potentially include images as well. It might follow the same format as this. We just want to do it in a secure fashion. When files are sent to people, we just want to make sure they're not malicious and we do the correct validations on them. That's why we're just a little bit hesitant on rolling that out very quickly. But it is available now when both members are logged in their member dashboard and sending private chat messages to each other. Okay, some things that are coming soon. I'm really excited about this one, and it's been asked for many times, and there have been some third-party developers who kind of created a solution for this. We're doing a pretty simple global keyword search add-on, so you can search a keyword on the site, and it will search for all the members and all the posts that include that keyword. I could show you a preview of what it's going to look like. This is an unfinished example, but this is the direction we're going within this. So what you'll have is you'll actually have a sidebar search module option, a header search module option, keyword search module, and also a homepage. So if you just wanted to do global keyword search right from your homepage, you can certainly do so. So in phase one to start, it's just going to be search by keyword. You enter a keyword. So if we search for article, so it's searching the title, the description. There's actually settings on what you want the keyword to look at, whether it's just the title and the body, or all the metadata with a post or with members. So depending on what you have those search parameters for, it will respect that. But in this case, we see that we have blog articles with the word title in it, and actually these are the member articles, which has the word articles in it as well. I think if I search job, so it's searching the whole site. We have articles, it has JOBA in it, so it found job right here. And of course, jobs, the title of this is job. So it's finding that as well. Let's do another search. Let's just look for the word the. So the only one that has the word the in it is this one here, the complete. And let's look for test. I'm sure a lot of them have test in there. So articles and coupons have the word test in it. So what this is going to do is it will show up to 10 results for each post type. After 10, it's going to have a button here that says view more article results. And it'll take you to a link that's as if you did a keyword search for that post type. So if I'm in the articles tab, it's going to say view more results. It's as if I did a keyword search just for articles. It's going to take me essentially, it's going to take me to articles with that keyword search for test. So it'll take me to the regular articles page. So this is the direction it's going in. It's going to be really simple, but it should be really powerful if you're trying to search your site for content based on a specific keyword. So probably we're looking to have this released probably in August, mid-August, or definitely I think by the end of August. And anyone with the VIP add-ons club would of course have access to this add-on. Next thing coming soon, a few weeks ago or a month ago or so, we did introduce the ability to search for members in your admin area based on the forms they've submitted on your site. So if you want to know which members have created a coupon, they've submitted the create a coupon form, you know that they've created a coupon on the site, or haven't submitted that form to create a coupon, you know who hasn't published that type of post type. You can actually filter members with the form submissions filter. We're just adding a bit more functionality. And it's better if I just show you what I'm referring to here. So if you go to search members, and I'll show you what's there now, actually I can do that. So this is what's here now. You have search members, and these are all the filters you can find members with. You can find members based on the forms they've submitted or forms they have not submitted. But when you have a lot of forms, it gets kind of hard to search what you're looking for. So we'll be adding first a check all and an uncheck all option, and then you can filter by a keyword. So if you're quickly looking for a form like coupon, you can just search for it quickly and see it there. And just a little bit more quality of life here, which will add a little bit more flexibility and functionality, and hopefully you'll get more usage out of this as well with this convenience. Table options for email templates. So right now you can create email templates, but you can basically just go up and down. We've talked about the table settings for pages. I kind of showed it to you here with this test article. We created a table here. What you'll soon be able to do when you're creating an email template is also utilize the functionality of tables. So again, this is a demo site that I can show you a quick preview of what's coming soon. You'll be able to add tables to your email templates when you're creating them, and that can help you structure your content a bit more elegantly from top to bottom relating to images and text when you're creating your newsletters. This is really special. We've talked about the introduction of Smart Lists, being able to save filtered lists of your members. Right now, you can just save the list and then just export that list at any time, and it'll stay saved on your site. You'll soon be able to include and exclude Smart Lists when you're scheduling newsletters through the BD admin panel. So let me just quickly show you where Smart Lists are. So if you're looking at all your members, maybe you want to find all your members in here, Raytown. We'll search. Okay, we have 99 members in that area or within that vicinity. You can create a smart list, give it a nickname. And of course, if you added additional filters, it would respect those filters, and you probably want to add it to the nickname so you know who those members are. You can save that. And in your email section here, you have smart lists, and you can see who those members are. You can export those members, or you can edit the nickname. So soon you'll be able to include these smart lists as options when you're creating newsletters and who you want the recipients to be. All right, and lots more updates coming down the line. I'll leave it there for now. David, you've done an amazing job this week of coming up with this topic, and actually we touched on a lot of things related to newsletters in the BD Lab updates coincidentally. If it's okay, I'd like to pass it over to you, and you can walk us through the tip of the week today.
Of course, this week we'll be talking about how to develop more of a successful newsletter. We've talked about newsletters a lot in previous webinars, but we've never really taken the time to dive deep into what goes into crafting a newsletter, what makes a good newsletter, when to send newsletters, things like that. So those are some of the things we'll be touching on in this presentation here. First of all, let's talk about the importance of email newsletters. I think most of us here kind of intuitively can understand how sending newsletters would be beneficial for managing a membership website. But the biggest thing is that when you send a newsletter, it allows you to stay top of mind with your busy members. Same thing with a normal business or an organization. Even if they're not trying to sell you on something, they'll still send you updates or pieces of content to share with you. That way they're staying top of mind, and it keeps them kind of active in your head, keeps you thinking about them. The other important thing when you're sending email newsletters is that it gives you another avenue to cultivate a sense of community, which is an aspect that we discuss a lot in these webinars. It can also allow you to encourage member engagement. So whether you're including calls to action, or if you're sharing videos or pieces of content with your members, or you're asking them direct questions, it allows you to interact with them more. And then lastly, it also will allow you to drive sales and member upgrades if you're sending promotional emails, or if you're including special newsletter subscriber discounts to them, things like that. But some kind of side benefits to email newsletters is that it really allows you to give a good personality to your organization, kind of gives a voice or somewhat of a face to the brand. And then it'll also allow your readers, your members, to perceive you as a little bit more organized and professional if you're taking the time to put together, craft an organized newsletter and send that to them. Whether it's once a month or every week, it gives them a good feeling that you're kind of staying on top of things and staying engaged with them.
Yeah, like there's a pulse going on behind the scenes. There's people behind the product, almost.
Exactly. So We've started going into statistics in some of our previous webinars. I kind of enjoy digging into these. I think it's pretty interesting and it sheds some light on some aspects that we might not always think about or is necessarily too intuitive for us. A really big one is that 80% of small and medium-sized businesses rely on email marketing for customer retention. So once they already have a customer, or in this case, we have a member, whether it's a free member or a paying member, 4 out of 5 small and medium-sized businesses are investing time and resources into sending newsletters in order to keep those customers, in this case members, kind of within their circle and again, stay top of mind. A big statistic that I really didn't see coming was that the average return on investment for email marketing is $42 for every single dollar that's spent. Of course, this is kind of a broad statistic. It really depends on how expensive a company's product or service is. Some products cost thousands of dollars, others cost, like a membership, maybe $5 or $10 a month. So it varies widely, but generally speaking, that's a massive return on investment. Another one, welcome emails. Again, this is another aspect that we've touched on in a lot of our webinars. Welcome emails have an average open rate of 82%. So again, a little more than 4 out of 5 members who receive those automated welcome emails that your Brilliant Directories website does send to them, about 4 out of 5 of them will open those welcome emails. So you do have the ability to edit all of the default email templates. We really encourage you to customize, personalize that welcome email to make it more applicable to your website, to your message, and to your members. It's a great way to make a really good first impression with them. Another one is personalized subject lines, on average, have a 50% higher open rate. So this doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be personalized directly to the reader. We do have variables that you can insert into your emails as well as the subject lines of your emails, like the member's name, for example. So you could do that, but an easier way to do it, kind of just generally speaking, is just to make it apply more to your target demographic, your target audience, who your members are, rather than just kind of keeping it generic. We provide default email templates for virtually every kind of situation where you'd want to be reaching out to your members in an automated sense. But if you can customize those, tweak those a little bit to make them more applicable to your members and your website itself, that'll be a great way to kind of grab their attention a little bit more. And the last statistic here, 49% of consumers, they actually want to receive weekly promo emails from their favorite brands. Now, I know this would be a little bit difficult for a membership website to do since you're offering more of a service and not necessarily a whole catalog of products. But this is encouraging and shows that if a consumer does believe in what you have to offer, in this case your members, they do actually want to hear from you. So you shouldn't be discouraged sending out email newsletters thinking that maybe they really don't want to hear from you. You don't want to waste their time or clutter up their inbox. About half of consumers who are purchasing your products or services, they actually do want to hear from you.
And I just wanted to touch on the welcome emails. We actually do have a video we did in a previous tip of the week on how to welcome new members to your community, and it does talk about the welcome email. So I just wanted to share this link with everyone in the chat here for everyone, and you guys can maybe check that out after the webinar or when you have free time.
So really quickly, we thought it might be beneficial to go over some of the elements that typically hold back websites from sending out email newsletters to their customers or their members. Some of the main reasons are that a lot of website owners or businesses, they think creating a newsletter can be a little bit too complicated. Like I mentioned, maybe they're nervous to reach out to members, which we see about half of your paying customers, your members, actually do want to hear from you, so that shouldn't hold you back. Oftentimes, websites are limited by their internal resources, so maybe they just don't have either the software to send out email newsletters or they don't have the funds to invest in a marketing platform that allows them to send out newsletters. Luckily with BD, that's all included, so that shouldn't hold you back. Another thing that holds websites back oftentimes is lack of content. If they don't have content and they think that they don't really have anything worthwhile to share with their newsletter subscribers, content, again, is one of those things that we discuss a lot in these webinars, the importance of publishing unique and valuable content. And then the last thing is just simply a lack of strategy, to just kind of not sure where to dive into it, what kind of schedule to keep, what things to include in the newsletter emails. So hopefully we'll be able to address these in the upcoming slides. But main point here is just keep it simple. You don't really need to overthink this. Don't be worried that people don't want to hear from you. If they simply don't want to hear from you, then they'll unsubscribe, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. If they're already members on your website, then they'll still receive, the important emails like the billing emails or things like that from you. The big thing is just don't overthink it, and understand and realize that your members, they really do want to hear from you. So going into these 5 simple tips that really will make quite a big difference in your newsletter game. First one, obviously, you need to know your audience. You need to know what they want and what they need in terms of information, entertainment, inspiration, whatever it is you're sending out in your newsletters. Understand who your audience is, your target demographic, who your members are, and what they'll want to receive when they're going through your email newsletter. The second one, set a sending schedule. So this is a really big thing. It's a tip that we gave when we discussed how to kind of increase your productivity when you're publishing content on your websites, to set a publishing schedule. Same thing with your newsletters. You want to set a sending schedule that you can hold yourself to. You can start with a newsletter every other week and gradually work your way up if you think sending more frequent newsletters would be beneficial. Setting a simple sending schedule, at least to start, will be a good way to kind of get the ball rolling for yourself. Third tip is to get personal. Newsletters, they're a great venue to let your readers, your members, see more of the real you, like we talked about, that face or the voice behind the brand. Doing that will allow you to form a stronger relationship with your members by showing them some of that personality, whether it's in the content that you're highlighting in the newsletter or through the images that you include. But an excellent way and an easy way to really make the newsletter feel personal is to highlight either one or a small handful of your new or outstanding members registered on your website within your community, and to also utilize those email variables that I mentioned before that are available when you're drafting your emails in the admin area. You can insert those in the body of your emails. So you can insert the member's first name, for example. You can insert those into the email, or you can do that in the subject line as well. But personalizing the emails will go a long way in keeping them engaged, but then also maybe keeping them interested and looking forward to your future newsletters as well. Tip number 4, encouraging reader interaction. You don't just want to send them bullets of just plain text to skim over. Instead, what we want to do is we want to give them opportunities to interact with the newsletter. So we can do this by including calls to action, linking to your recently published content, whether it's articles or videos, or if you publish podcasts on your website, anything like that. You want to link to your recently published content. Include links to your videos if you have any. If you don't, then you could also link to videos that you think will still be helpful to your members or useful to them. But what you can do is you can create a blog post and embed that video, even if it's not one that you made. You can embed it in your blog post, write a little text, supporting text that goes along with the video, and then include that link to the blog post in your newsletter. That way, instead of just linking people to YouTube or somebody else's website, you're actually linking them back to your website. You can also encourage readers to follow you on social media, and you can even end your newsletters by directly asking them for feedback, something to encourage a dialogue between them and yourself. And if you do decide to do that, then a great way to actually place value on their engagement is to actually respond to them yourself. So thank them for taking the time to share their thoughts with you. And the last one, maybe one of the more important ones actually, even though it's pretty simple, is to use high quality images in your newsletters. Readers, they'll be drawn more toward images and your headings, or like the bold text in your emails, rather than the actual content in the email itself. The words, they'll most likely just kind of quickly skim over that. So keep in mind to include high value and high quality images in your email newsletters to draw readers' attention to those specific sections within your newsletter, and hopefully suck them in to the supportive text that you have that follows those images and headings.
And yeah, just to touch on some things that David was talking about there, like some ideas of of what you can include in the newsletter. The hardest thing is coming up. So what do you put in this thing? How much did you put in a newsletter? So I just want to share some tips that work for us here at Brilliant Directories, actually, and I've seen work well on actual directory sites. The first one is very simple: sending positive vibes. It's a wonderful June. We're so happy that, to be with everyone here in the community. We've had lots of fun interaction in the Facebook group, and it's great to see everyone's getting off to a running start. Just let the community know how much you value them and how much fun you're having with them. So that's a great way to both start and end your newsletters with just a couple sentences. If you have any milestones or company updates, like internal company news, maybe you've launched a new social media channel. It could really be the smallest thing, but you can share that company update. Again, these newsletters are a great way to show people that there are people and there's a pulse behind the website. It's not just one of those random websites where there's no contact us form and there's no way to get in touch with the people. So people like that personal touch, especially nowadays. We always mention in the webinar sometimes you don't need to unlock all the features of Brilliant Directories from day one. Yes, the software is packed with lots of publishing tools and things you can unlock on the member profiles and things like that. You could, when you're launching or if you're in the middle of your launch, you don't have to unlock everything at once. And you could plan on releasing things, throughout the year. Maybe 3 months from now, you're going to allow members to publish events because now you've created that functionality, which all you're really doing is pushing a button in the Brilliant Directories admin area. But you can release new features and tools throughout the year and make those big announcements, and those are great for newsletters. Another thing you can do is showcase other members. Maybe someone's done something noteworthy in the industry. Maybe you want to do a blog write-up on them and just make them the spotlight member of the month and just highlight them. They'll love it. Other members may want to be in that spot sometime. It shows that there's real people in the community. So it's a great way to do social proof and also showcase some of the success that your members are having, whether it's in their business or on your website. But that's another thing you can do is showcase your other members. Maybe they're your newest members that you want to introduce to the community. As David mentioned, one of the best go-to moves is just sharing some of your new posts or content that's available on your website. We always would just recommend to complement those links that are in the newsletter with an image that is captivating and catches your attention and looks modern and fresh. And of course, with that, that's bringing links back to your website. So we don't want to get people stuck in the newsletter. We want to take them to places. So maybe links where they can join you on social media. Maybe you'd like them to take a survey, read an article that's available on your blog, bring them back to your website. And again, that's good for search engine optimization because it's more traffic. If it's engaging content and they're staying on your website, from a technical perspective, that's a lower bounce rate. And Google does read those in their analytics, and they will favor your websites that have lower bounce rates where people are actually staying on the site and reading the material that is on the website. And like I mentioned, add links to follow you on social media. Surveys are great. And why not just ask them if they need any help? Ask them, how can we help you? And give them the opportunity to also reply back to the newsletter, right? It's not just a one-way dialogue. They can reply back to the newsletter with questions about their profile or a service you offer. So you want to use the newsletter not only to bring them back to your site, but also to open up dialogue with people who might have questions. They may have been hibernating for a few months and maybe they're ready to get their feet wet again with your product or service or community. So ask them how you can help them. And again, it goes back to number one on this list. It's just sharing positive vibes and making yourself available for your community. And that's really what the newsletters are all about. And also newsletters are obviously part of your marketing strategy. And David touched on it with that statistic about the retention. So, I think maybe once a month would be healthy for most people on the webinar here. It's doable mid-month or beginning of the month, schedule a newsletter. And what that newsletter is going to do is a couple things. One, it's going to help with member retention, so keeping the members who are paying. One, it's going to maybe members who aren't paying, encourage them to upgrade. Or also people who aren't members yet, but they're on your newsletter list and they're in the awareness stage, but they really haven't signed up for a membership on your site. It's going to encourage them to maybe want to start that membership. So rather than just passively waiting for people to sign up to your site without a newsletter, they just kind of read the materials on your website. That's going to be part of your member acquisition strategy. are these newsletters, because you're going to retain a small percentage of members, or you're going to bring back some members who are probably almost going to leave you, and then you can also sign up new members as well. And another thing, psychologically, for you as the business owner, the website owner, having these newsletters really is, and let's say it's just once a month, it really keeps you focused on wanting to find updates for your community. So it really keeps you as the business owner, the website owner, engaged in your own business, rather than you set up your website and now you're just sitting, with your thumbs in your hand waiting for something to happen. Not all of us are good at social media. Not all of us are good at newsletters, but if you're kind of good at all those things, maybe you can gain some traction and you can strum up some interest from people to help move the community forward. And there will be a time where it's called the tipping point, where all this falls into place and things will be moving a lot quicker and a lot faster, and you'll see a lot more traction once you get the ball started and you get more comfortable with these routines of things like newsletters and posting to social media and things like that. By the way, everything on this list here, you can also share on your social media channels as well. Positive vibes, company updates, new features and tools. So all these things go hand in hand. You don't have to do double work. Just find out what these 8 things are or other things, make lists of them, and now you have your social media marketing strategy built in as well for you without doing any extra work. Okay, great. We kind of just wanted to show you 2 examples and kind of how you can use the newsletter builder in Brilliant Directories to kind of just create a very simple newsletter that can do a lot of help for you when you're trying to connect with your members. So what I did is I actually just wanted to focus on kind of the newsletters we send for Brilliant Directories. This was the newsletter we sent last month. So we do have an image at the top. It just says June newsletter, and generally for our newsletters, we'll choose a background. We'll make an image that kind of fits the theme of that month, kind of like a calendar. And in this newsletter, we kind of started off with just hope that everyone's hanging in there and that we're there for them. If they need anything, they could join us in the Facebook group. We also mentioned that the next day there was a webinar. So we're really letting them know that we're there for them and they can connect with us. Well, you guys can connect with us. And then we shared a handful of updates. So what we like to do is maybe choose 3 or 4 noteworthy updates from the previous month that we can share in this month's newsletter. So, all we're using is title that says June updates with a color, a simple paragraph, and we're just using the title section, new admin dashboard, and we took an image there. Billing reminder emails add-on was released, a paragraph with an image, and this could be spruced up more. This works for us. I think it's a simple way to share information and kind of lets people know that we're busy. We're definitely busy working over here to make updates and things like that. And we finish it with a light bulb and a heart. And it's true that we do love the BD community. So we just finish with that, and we always let them know if they need anything that they can reach out to us. So this is an example of a newsletter that we do and that we send out to our community. I have another example here. This is actually from another tech company. It's Trello. It's to help you. It's like to-do lists for yourself. So their solution is for managing to-do lists. And they send newsletters like this. So they have their really cool modern images here, custom made. And they have a big title and just a little caption and a link to go to this article here. And they just do that 3 times in a row. And title, well, 4 times in a row. And then they have, I guess, something they're promoting here, automate your workflow. So they have a tool that you can learn more. So those are the calls to actions that we're talking about. And then at the bottom here, they have their social media links so you can stay connected a bit more. So in this case, they're just sharing updates. They really didn't get too personal with the kumbaya vibe there. That's really important to us here at Brilliant Directories. But again, that's how you can define your voice and your personality and what matters to you and your community and how you want to address them. But my point here is there really isn't anything too fancy going on here. We have good selection of images and some title text, and they put some buttons here and things like that. So what we wanted to do is dive into the email templates area of your BD site. And we can kind of just put a similar email together. I mean, we could really just do something like any of these. So let's create a quick email template together just to see how it can be done and kind of disarm any concerns or any worries that you have that this could be a complicated process. So let's just take this part of it here. I think I can just honestly copy and paste this right into here. So you can certainly do that. You can update font sizes here, make them bold. You can choose colors, of course, here. So if we wanted this to be purple and larger size, you can certainly do that. And then let's do that. Let's copy this emoji here for the thumbs up, put it right here, and say June update. So we see this is kind of small font. We can just boost that up there, give it a cool color. And yeah, we can go back to normal size font 14, and we'll use the darker text, and we can say, you know, just copying a paragraph here. And we can add a picture. So with adding a picture, just click on the insert image option here, and you could browse from your media library. So here's that billing reminders one that we had. And so we could say like new billing reminder add-on, you know, or whatever you want to share with your community. And again, we can make this a little bit bigger, and we can give it a color as well. And you can just follow this format. If you wanted to do something like Trello did, you can certainly center everything. So you can just highlight everything and align it centered. Image, I think you have to click on the image and then choose Align Center. So you can certainly have everything going right down the line. You can stretch your images, make them better. What's nice is after you save your template, you can then send yourself a test email. So if the image is kind of you stretched it too big than the actual size of the image and it's coming blurry, you can then shrink it down. What I like to do with the images is there is this ruler here. And what I like to do is I kind of want continuity. So you can just make sure that you're using the same width, and kind of just set the width, and the height should auto adjust, but at least you can make sure everything is the same width. And as you go down the page, you can certainly follow a format like these guys have done. And I guess they're putting their text underneath the image, you know, things like that. You can do extra line breaks if you want to keep it like smaller, you know, a little bit just tucked right underneath the image. You could definitely do things like that. You have line height options, so you can adjust the line height here. It's really fun to play around with this and do test emails, kind of see what the possibilities are. And then, as I mentioned, what's being released soon is the ability to include tables into the email template. So for mobile view, it's really nice to just go up and down, because it'll just, you know what it's going to look like on mobile. So this is just basically one column and everything is going right down the middle. But you can certainly, if you wanted to, add a table. And, you know, why not put your text on the left if you need it? You know, you can have your text there, and I think you can just have your image on the right. And that could be the format for your email is, you know, it's a 2-column system where the title's on the top here, the text is on the left and the image is on the right. And you could just continue repeating this. You can just add another row below and just continue adding rows. And, you know, maybe you keep a row empty because you want space between it. Again, see, that's why it's really good to kind of test it on your email, so you know you have an even space between all your updates. And this is just a really simple way. I know it's not too fancy, but, you know, for those of us that may be beginners or feel a little intimidated, this is a really easy way to do it. And look, this even looks nice coming right down the middle centered, and then boom, you have a 2-column update here. Maybe one of these is going to be your social media links, or like these guys had a call to action here, right? Look, this is a 2-column system here. They have an image on the left and some text on the right. So we're right in line with what everyone else is kind of doing here. It's just a matter of formatting it and using good images. And obviously, you want to use good proportions for your font sizes. So, you know, really the goal here was to kind of disarm anything that might hinder you from wanting to publish a newsletter and things like that. In my opinion, if you're just getting started, focus on a nice welcome message, few sentences. Maybe share 3 or 4 updates. Any one of these things from your site, it's a lot to choose from. And then just finish with a nice sentence and let the community know that you're there for them. How can you help them? Something like that. and you can just sign off and you're done with your newsletter for the month. Mid-month is great because people might be bored with the month, and then maybe later you can send a promo at the end or the beginning of the following month for people who maybe aren't members yet. So this is a great way to stay top of mind. And then for those people who aren't members, or if you want to try to upgrade their membership, you send them a non-promotional, that's the key here actually, is a non-promotional newsletter, just an honest updates about the company and the community. And then on another newsletter, you might want to give them opportunities how they can grow with the community with an upgraded membership plan as well. I know I can keep talking about it, so I'll leave it there. But if you have a question about the tip of the week or any of the BD lab updates that we chatted about, we'd love to take some questions right now. And we see Brenda. How are you today?
How you doing, Jason?
Very good, very good. Thanks for joining the webinar. What's your question for us today?
When you were talking about those pictures and things that you could put into the newsletter, I've been doing that, but mine's been kind of like disorganized. But my thing that has come into my mind is some of the people like to archive my newsletters. And I don't have a lot of space in the media manager, and I've deleted some of those pictures out that go into my newsletter. Are those pictures still going to show on those newsletters if they are archived and kept a year in advance, but the pictures aren't on the media manager?
So the images do need to be on the media manager because they need to be hosted somewhere on the internet. They need to live somewhere on the internet. So where they're living right now is inside your media manager. So, moving forward, I would recommend not moving them out of the media manager. And I have a tip for you that might be helpful and for your community.
Okay.
What you may want to do, and this is really fun, is go to your edit post settings. Okay, and clone like your blog articles, okay, or clone your member articles, just one of the simple ones that's just like title and the article, right? And I'm going to clone this post type. So each post type is like a channel of content that you can publish to. And what I'm going to do here it is, copy of blog articles. I'm going to call this, you could also do your blog articles and have a category, but where I was going with this is newsletter archive.
Oh.
And I'll tell you what you can do. So newsletter archive and search results, so you can search newsletter archive and newsletter archive. Okay, so this is all newsletter archive. Now we've cloned this, but now we need to assign this post type to the membership plan that has the privilege of publishing this post type. So in your case, it's going to be the admin blog contributor, the person who's publishing the blog articles behind the scenes. So it looks like, well, this site's a test site that we deleted that, but generally you should have like an admin blog contributor. They're the ones publishing the blog posts and other company news to the site. But in this example, let me just assign it to the basic plan here. So post publishing, so search for newsletter archives, can post. So this is the membership plan that can, again, you don't want your members to do this, you just want this to be the plan that's reserved for the owner of the website. So now let's log in as a member, and I want to show you something pretty cool that you can do with this. Okay, so now you would have the ability to publish newsletter archives. So let's add a new archive, and you can say like June newsletter, right? Or whatever. June 2020 newsletter. Over time, these add up, right? So I was saying another way you can do it is rather than making it its own post type, maybe one of your blog categories, you make newsletter archive. That way you don't have to go through this cloning thing. But if you have a lot of newsletters, then it could warrant being its own channel, post channel. So what you can do is this. If you go to your emails, email templates, I don't have any custom emails on this, but basically what you can do is this. When you have your email newsletter, click on these two brackets here, code view, okay? Copy the code here, okay? Whatever it is. So just Control A and then copy, and then come to your article, click on that code view and paste it, okay? And then it's gonna be right there, an exact copy of your newsletter, and you just save your changes. And this way, you actually have a public archive on your site of your newsletter, June newsletter. But basically copy the code view of it into the code view of your blog post, and now you have, well, just like a blog post, you have an archive of all your newsletters, and the images will be in there, and you really don't need to do any extra work. You're just copying and pasting from the email template as a blog post. And don't delete the images from the media manager. And also, now that this is on your site, this is going to be good for search engine optimization because it's just like a blog article. It's unique content on your website. And of course, now it could be accessible not only by your members and Google, but newsletters are awesome because someone who's a prospective member sees that this community has constant updates as opposed to competition who maybe doesn't have constant updates, and they see you're up to date and you're reaching out to the community, and it's all public for people to see if you want it to be public. So that's something that you can do.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Did that answer your question a little bit there?
It did, Jason. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, good stuff there. Another amazing webinar. I hope you guys took something from this amazing tip of the week. David, thank you for taking the time to put this one together. I know that this one as a segment is going to be really high value in the replays. Lots of BD Lab updates and fun ones we shared with you guys today as well. If you haven't already done so, you can join us in the Facebook group. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. We can continue the conversations there. Feel free to start a discussion. And on behalf of myself, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, it was great to be with you here today. Have a wonderful day and a brilliant week. The next webinar is in 2 weeks. We're lucky enough to have 3 webinars in this month of July. That's how the Wednesdays have fallen for us, so we've been graced with that. So we'll see you guys on July 31st for the next webinar Wednesday. Have an awesome day, everyone, and thanks for joining.